Hey everybody, and welcome back to TX3 Productions. Today we're going to be doing a review. That review is for Over the Moon. So Over the Moon is a new animated Netflix movie, and it just released yesterday. Watched it. It was a nice family movie. It was very enjoyable for sure, but I wouldn't say I was over the moon for it. M-O-O-N. That spells moon. It's very well acted. It's very, very pretty. Very, very pretty. And the story is okay. That's pretty much it. So Over the Moon was made by Pearl Studio. Pearl Studio is a branch, it looks like, of Oriental DreamWorks, and their first movie is actually Abominable. That's important because Abominable and Over the Moon have almost identical art styles. A lot of the characters look very similar. I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad thing because I actually really liked Abominable, but it is something that kind of sticks out like, oh, well, you know, it's kind of weird how they look exactly alike. And so that's who it's made by. I think they did an overall just good job of it. I think, like I said before, it is very gorgeous. The art style and just the overall just graphics of everything, the details, the little details that you get in a CG movie like this, very well done. The actors themselves, so Kathy Ang played Fei Fei, which is the main protagonist. She did very well. Let's see who played the little kid, because there's a little kid that follows her around. There we go, Robert C. Choi. He was the little brother, well, the person who's going to become the little brother. One thing that I definitely noticed that you can see here is that in a movie like this, pretty much everybody is Asian or of Asian descent, and so that's didn't mean to click on that. So that's nice to see that, because you know, this is an Asian movie and very, very well could have been whitewashed by all means, but thankfully it wasn't. I'd say the standouts for me were definitely Kathy Ang, so Fei Fei. Kim Jong, he played like a little kind of dog-like character. He was really funny, and like he was kind of obnoxious and he wouldn't stop talking. Philippa Su, which like I had to look her up because I'm like, that voice sounds really freaking familiar. I had to look her up. Turns out she is the wife of Hamilton from the musical Hamilton. And I'm like, but the voice sounds really familiar. There's even one song where she's playing ping pong with the Chin character played by Robert C. Choi, and she kind of raps a little bit. So I'm like, yep, that's definitely her. But all of them have just did a really good job. The art style is really good, and I think one of the main drawbacks is the kind of pacing of everything. So without getting too much away, the whole premise of the thing is that basically they're going up to the moon and to prove that this deity exists. The deity that's played by Philippa Su, which is Chang. That's the deity that they're talking about. She got trapped up on the moon and she's trapped away from her love. And so Fei Fei goes up to the moon to basically prove that she exists or whatever. And so that's kind of the premise of the entire movie. And getting to that point didn't take too long. It was like 20 minutes maybe or whatever. But then once we got there, it was a little weird. So basically, the brother character, Chin, gets on the rocket ship with her, and, you know, they end up, you know, getting stranded on the moon together. And then just right at the beginning of the adventure, essentially, Feifei is just like, nah, dude, F you, I'm out of here. And just leaves Chen on the freaking moon. So it's like, this is the character that we're supposed to be rooting for. This is the character that we're supposed to be, that we're supposed to feel for. And she's just like, here's this little kid that's definitely younger than her, and she's just gonna leave him on a foreign planet and not really give a crap. Like, that right there was like, I don't know, maybe if they would have established their relationship a little bit more, but essentially she just met this kid. You know, there's a little bit of a montage when she's building her rocket. We don't know how long it takes for that montage to happen. It's not, I mean, they might have shown a calendar. I mean, I didn't really pay that much attention to that. But we can assume if she's getting a bunch of stuff together, it had to take over a month, if not months. So, I mean, this very well could be 6 months to a whole year after the movie starts, and it's just going through a montage of her getting her rocket ready. But we don't really get any kind of establishment of their relationship. So they get up there and she's just kind of annoyed with him, which granted, she's always been annoyed with him, but annoyed with him enough to leave him in a foreign area. That just rubbed me the wrong way. Because like I said, this is the character that you're supposed to be rooting for. You can't root for somebody that would just leave someone behind. If anything, you need to endear us on that character and putting your own selfish needs aside to make sure that that person is okay is what you should be doing. So she leaves him behind, and then the kid kind of does like a side quest. And so the Feifei, she goes on the main quest and pretty much forgets about the kid. And so that's the part that's like, okay, so we're cutting back from Feifei back to Chen, which is the brother again. And then every once in a while we go into Chong, which is the deity that I was talking about. And it's just, it seemed like there was too much going on. You know, I'm okay with ensemble pieces. I'm okay with a story that has like an omniscient narrator or whatever, but I do feel like this movie could have done really good by having a central focal point. And that central focal point being Feifei. And seeing basically the entire story from her point of view. I think that this movie could have just used some focus there. Because going from her to Chen to Chong and then over here and over there, it just seemed kind of jumbled. It was all well done and it was still interesting for sure. Like, the kid gets into a ping pong battle with the deity and he actually ends up winning, but the deity's just like, nah, screw this, I'm out of here. So, I mean, it's all fun and it's all entertaining for the most part, but it's also just messy, you know? And it's like, I like it. I do like it, but it's just the mess that was a little bit too much to. So, like, at the end of the day, like, I think without the mess, I might have given this a really high score. But because of the mess, that's what kind of like, I look back on it and I'm like, what exactly happened in this movie? And it's like, oh, this and this and this and this. And it's like, maybe this should have been like a 2-part, or, you know, because there's so many things up in the air and they're juggling and, you know. So at the end of the day, it's hard because we used to have a rating system that was basically what we would suggest that you would do. So this would be, our original was, a premiere, which means that we think that you should go out on day one and go watch this. Then there's the I'm having a hard time. We had premiere, so day one, go see this day one. Matinee, so we still think it's worth money, but hey, wait to pay for a matinee, or even wait a week or so. Then there's rent, where rent, you still have to spend some money. You still have to spend like $1 if you're doing it for Netflix or something like that. And then there's stream it, which is obviously what it came out on, is stream it. So it's hard because in this day and age, everything is going to stream. But I still think that the ranking system makes sense as long as I kind of preface it that way. Do I think this is worth money? Do I think that if I would have went to the theater, why did I say it that way? If I would have went to the theater, would this have been worth it? I don't think so. So I think streaming it was exactly where it needed to be. On Netflix, where it's among a bunch of other stuff that I can watch. Because if I would have rented this from if I would have rented this from Redbox, I don't know if I would have necessarily really enjoyed it. Because there's always, even if it's just $1, there's always that monetary value put onto it. And it's just like, I spent money on this. So I really hate it because, like I said, it is a good movie. If it wasn't so jumbled and it would have been a lot more focused, I would have at least gone up to matinee. Maybe not worth that full premium price, but hey, a matinee or wait a couple weeks or something, like, I don't think I would have regretted it. But it's just the jumbliness of it that I have to say that it's a stream it, and it definitely deserves being on the Netflix. Real quickly, I wanted to kind of look at it and see what's everybody else's kind of view on it. I saw a lot of people basically saying that critics are raving or whatever, and I know tomato meter isn't the number one thing that you should be looking at. However, when you say something like the critics are raving, I expect to see something more than 77%. Once again, not horrible, but it's just like, that's 77%. Like, when you say critics are raving, I'm expecting to see like 80s and 90s, because that seems like it's raving. However, the audience score is much higher at 84. So I think I could be more on the tomato meter rather than the audience score, because 77 seems like a good spot for it. 77, 75, somewhere around there, because it still is really good and it definitely has merits, but it's just not quite like masterpiece by any means. And then there's a Metacritic score, which I don't know. I mean, that's more for video games, but it's a 59 for critics. So that's not bad. Out of 21, that's not bad. It is bad. Versus the user score, only 8 ratings so far at 8.9. Once again, I do believe that's good. I'm glad people are enjoying. I think 8.9 is a little bit high, but I definitely think 59 is too low. So it's like, it's interesting to see the different ratings on that. So personally, stream it. Totally fine. If you have a family, go for it. I mean, it's a gorgeous movie and it'll keep them busy. So that's my personal look on it. Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Let me know down in the comments down below. You can go to any of these places down below to get a hold of us or just to follow us. Would be really awesome. Thank you so much, and you guys have a wonderful day.